Hi friends, it's Julia. I'm here to share a layout that I created using a mini kit that I put together from the Felicity Jane Rebecca line in November 2019. Now, I was doing this for an online crop, a challenge for an online crop sponsored by Scrapbook Generation. Now, I have the paper pack from Rebecca that is in the kit, and I think there were eight papers, double-sided papers for the kit, and then I had added in a couple of extra papers as well as about 10 sheets of cardstock. So here I'm just taking this cardstock, and it's just craft colored, adding one of the pattern papers from the kit and starting from there. Now that's really the only pattern paper that I use in this entire 2-page layout. And I do use a lot of embellishments from the kit. That's the only pattern paper that I use. I do use some journal spots, 3x4 cards from the kit, but as far as pattern paper goes, that's it. So you can see me playing around with where I want the photos to go. And it kind of shows, my previous layout showed the room that my husband and I got. We'd gone on a trip to Dallas. He was going to the horse races and to run in a half marathon. And when he does that, I'm not a runner, so I don't go to run with him. And I don't really go to the horse races. It's not my thing. And so what he usually will do is book a hotel that has a fairly large space for me to scrapbook in. And by that, I mean, it has to have like a super large table, and he'll usually get a suite someplace that has a little living set in it that will have a coffee table and, maybe a huge desk, that kind of thing. So you can see there, I'm just playing around with where I want everything to go, where I want all of my photos to go, so then I know where to put all of my embellishments. And you can see the room that my previous layout showed the room all nice and clean and clear when we first arrived, and now you can see me all spread out there. When we travel, and I scrapbook when we travel, I usually take kits with me to work on. I don't take like individual page kits. I take like a full monthly kit to work with. It has multiple pages, multiple things. And I think on this vacation that we went on, I probably had 2 or 3 kits with me. I know I had a card kit as well as a couple of scrapbooking kits as well. And I make kits every month. I go over to the or stop by the Facebook page of the Counterfeit Kit Challenge, and I use their inspiration. Every month they choose a kit from somewhere, whether it be Studio Calico, whether it be Felicity Jane, whether it be some, like for the month of November 2019, they chose a Scandinavian online store that provides kits. Not a kit club that I had ever heard of. So, but it was fun to go through my stash to pull out stuff that I could use that had the same feel or mimic the same items in that kit. And I take those with me when we go on retreats, as well as a lot of additional stuff. By stuff, I mean I will take dies, I will take my Sizzix, I will take lots of additional stamps, things that I would and inks and things, stuff that I would normally have available to me at home, but I don't have them because, we're traveling, but I try and take an assortment of everything. So that's all the mess that you see in the photos there. There is really some method to my madness, if you will. And you can see here, I'm going through, I have used those little spray mist inks forever. And I keep adding them to my kits thinking I'm going to use them, and I just never do. But as I was going through pulling in some tools for this little mini kit, I found this stamp that looks like a sprayed on image. And I thought, why not? I've had it forever and I've never used it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to use this. And I did. And guys, I flippin' love this thing. Why did I hang on to it for so long without using it? I think I'm going to keep it out and I'm going to use it on every layout. Well, okay, maybe not everyone, but you get my gist. It's one of those stamps that, it's like, oh my goodness, why did I hang on to this without using it for so long? So you can see I've got some ink down there. I've pulled in several shades of ink that match this collection that I'm using. And those alphabet tiles are from Sticko. Picked them up at Tuesday morning and they have a wood grain appearance from them. And this is what I typically do when I am placing a title down. I use the edge of my ruler. And it's just something that I've always done. I know a lot of people use wax paper to put their stuff down, but not my thing. If you could see my rulers up close, I have 3 rulers like this one that are absolutely gooey and gunky on the edges from all of the adhesive that, gets on there. And I go through ever so often and clean them all off, and then it just builds back up again. So you can see I've got my main title down, which is scrapbooking, and I'll put some little additional bits and pieces on there. And I'm just going through the embellishment pack, trying to pick up some pieces that I will use on this layout. And I'm just scattering them around where I think I might use them. This wasn't a super big kit. I had this embellishment pack that came with the Rebecca line. And then it had a vellum pack with hearts in it. And it had all of these chipboard pieces. And so I'm just going through there. The journal cards are from the kit. And I think that was it. The vellum hearts, the chipboard pieces, or not chipboard pieces, the die cut pieces, the journal spots, the 3x4s, and then the paper. And then I have some little additional paper clips, the tiny paper clips in yellow, and I do add a few on to this layout as well. Now there's 3 hearts that I am placing down here that have the pre-cut vellum for it. I love how those hearts look, but I'm not going to end up using them. And so in the process of thinking about those, I'm just fiddling around with some of the die cuts and deciding if I'm going to use some of them on the layout and where exactly I'm going to use them. You can see on the top where I have on the right side where I have those ink splatters there, that's where an embellishment cluster is going to go. Where I have scrapbooking and I have that splatter to the upper left edge there, that's going to be a site of embellishment. And then where I have the heart down below, beside those 2 photos, like in the corner of them, that's where my 3rd embellishment cluster is going to go. So I kind of, even though I use additional embellishments spread over the course of the page, those are the primary areas where I'm going to have embellishment clusters. And so I'm just going through here and I'm auditioning things out and trying them and seeing how I like them together. And I'm using some foam adhesive to pop things up. And you can see on the right side or the left side, I made that journal spot even with the top of those photos. It just gave it some cohesion doing that, but then it left me a gap at the bottom. And so I just filled that with a little floral cluster from the die cut pack. And so that works fine. I don't need anything additional there to fill that space in. And I don't feel like it's trapping anything, So down where I'm putting that little floral piece there, I actually started to move that. I was going to make the leaf area go a different direction, and I ended up tearing the photo. No big deal. I just pressed it back down, and I'll work with the area that I have. So I have a die cut piece that is a label, and so on that label, I had placed down the smaller part of my title that I created with those pink tiles. And it says on the go. It's scrapbooking on the go. And I had placed them down while I didn't do the spacing so great. And so it didn't look right. And so I peeled them back up and I'm replacing them. And I'll just put those. There's a lot of space in there that doesn't necessarily need, you don't necessarily need to see like the wall. Why see the wall? That's not what the photos are about. So I don't mind covering up those bits and pieces. And so that's the word wonderful, and it is one of the die cut pieces, and I'm just going through and I'm adding some foam to the background of that. I added a lot of foam to some of, to these die cuts, and which is okay. I like doing that. I like texture and dimension in my embellishments. And so one of the easiest ways to do that is to add just a little bit of foam adhesive to the backs of some of them. And it just gives it that extra little something that makes your layout stand out. Now that journal card there, you can see me, I'm putting that little paper clip on there. And then I've put a tab up there where I put the date on. And so I'm just balancing it a little bit by putting a paper clip on the other side as well. There's no function to them. They're just there to be cute. And you can see I'm adding these hearts down, and they're vellum hearts. I was going to add the ones that were that were the die cuts over the vellum, but I opted not to. And I'm just going to go for the vellum hearts. Now what I did, you saw me grab my Xyron sticker maker, and I'm just running those hearts right through there. A couple of them are a little bit big and didn't fit so great, but it all works out in the end. And one of them is a little bit crinkled up on the upper edge of it, and that's fine. It'll flatten out in my album. I'm not overly worried about that. And it doesn't have to be, I'm okay if things are a little off kilter sometimes or a little bent or buckled, because, hey, that's real life scrapbooking at its best. Like right there, you can see that's the little corner that buckled some. And I've put 2 of these vellum hearts in each little cluster just to give it a little extra embellishment, if you will. I'm going to add some gemstones in as well. Oh yeah, this little scallopy piece here looks like a hand-drawn scallop piece. So I just went through and I buckled that up. I bumped that up with a little bit of foam adhesive, and I'm going to place it right under that right photo and the journal spot. Like I said, I really like some dimension on my layouts. I like the texture and dimension that some of these embellishments give. And if they're not dimensional enough for me, then I go ahead and add some foam tape. And here, this is a little gem packet from, I don't remember the manufacturer, but I'll show you the photo of the bits and pieces that I added in at the beginning of this. And you'll see, I don't know if I have the manufacturer label on there or not, but yeah, it's one of those little collections that I picked up at Tuesday morning. And so I think that's pretty much it. I do decide I want a little extra something on there, and I go back through with my letters here in just a minute. I need a little bit of extra color to lighten up those the craft background. And so I'm just writing and telling the story on that little journal spot about my husband's need to make me happy. We realized a long time ago when I used to go to the horse races with him, I'm not the best companion. I'm not the best company because I'll stick my nose in a book because it's not something that interests me. And rather than him feeling like he needs to entertain me, we've learned that I am good with staying around the hotel and staying in the hotel room and just having a great time scrapbooking, or even if I don't take my scrapbooking stuff, taking a book to read. And I'm content with that too. Either way, it lets him do something he enjoys, and it also lets me do something that I enjoy. And I really like hanging out in a hotel room just scrapbooking, because I tend to get a lot more done than when I'm at home and I have constant interruptions, whether it be cooking dinner or doing the laundry, whatever. I have more unlimited time to scrapbook when we're out and traveling. Anyway, so I'm getting to the end here, and I pick up these letter tiles again, and like I said, I need something to lighten up each of that little area on the craft backgrounds, and so I'm just adding those asterisks in there. And that's the layout. That's done. And I had held it together with some just old washi tape, and so now you see me peeling that off, and that layout is done. Thanks for sticking around, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.